It was meant to be an easy evening. Dinner at the place we always loved, good food, familiar faces, comfortable laughter. Daniel had just returned from a long trip for work, and I wanted our night together to feel warm again, like a reset for the stretch of quiet distance that had crept between us. But life didn't give me the night I planned. Because the moment Ryan walked through those doors, my stomach dropped. He wasn't supposed to show up there. My secret. My addiction. The man I whispered with in the dark. Ryan. Reckless charm, confident stride, always flirting with danger, the very thing that pulled me toward him in the first place. But that night, something in him was different. Almost violent. He watched me with sharp, burning eyes every time Daniel spoke, every time he smiled at me. I kept pretending everything was normal, but the heat of Ryan's stare felt like I was sitting under a spotlight. Daniel was his usual polite self, telling everyone stories from his trip, making people laugh, making the table feel bright. I tried to smile, tried to breathe, but inside I was unraveling. My hands shook when I lifted my glass. Ryan barely spoke. Just sat rigid, jaw locked, muscles tense. Anyone who glanced his way could sense the anger simmering in him. Then it happened. Daniel reached over and placed his hand gently over mine. "I missed you more than I expected," he said softly. An innocent moment, a husband speaking from tenderness. But I saw Ryan's face twist into something feral. His chair scraped violently as he shoved himself upright. "You don't deserve her," he growled, his voice knifing through the room. The entire restaurant froze. Silence. Utter silence. Then Ryan's hand cracked across Daniel's face, a sharp slap that echoed like a gunshot.
People gasped.
Chairs shifted. Forks dropped. Daniel staggered, stunned. I couldn't move. My pulse hammered so hard I could barely hear anything else. Ryan's fury swelled, but beneath it was a wounded, desperate man. He didn't want to embarrass Daniel. He wanted to destroy me. "Tell him." Ryan shouted at me. "Tell him the truth. Stop acting innocent." My mouth opened, nothing came. I felt dozens of eyes staring, friends, co-workers, neighbors, the servers, everyone frozen in disbelief, waiting for me to speak, waiting for me to either confess or fight. Daniel looked at me with a face I didn't recognize.
Calm. Cold.
"What truth?" he asked quietly. No sound came out of me, and that silence told him everything he needed to know. Ryan slammed the table. "Tell him you've been sleeping with me. Tell him what you said about this marriage." Someone whispered a horrified, "Oh my God," nearby. Daniel's face drained of color as realization settled in. His voice barely above a whisper. "Is it true?" My eyes filled. My head moved, but no real denial came. I said nothing, and that destroyed whatever was left. Daniel straightened his clothes, took out his phone, and spoke briefly, like handling business. Within minutes, uniformed security swept in and grabbed Ryan. They hauled him toward the exit as he shouted my name.
Daniel didn't yell,
Didn't curse. Didn't defend himself.
didn't even look at Ryan.
That terrified me more than rage ever could. He had turned off emotion. He had switched into control. When Ryan was gone, Daniel addressed the entire room with just 2 words. "Dinner's over." Then he walked out, calm, leaving me sitting there in humiliation while the world stared. I ran after him outside, calling his name, begging him to stop, to let me explain, but he never once turned around. He got in his car. He left.
He didn't come home that night.
In the morning, the house was hollow and cold. On the dining table was a folded piece of paper in his handwriting. "You made your choice. I hope he was worth the cost." My hands shook. I called him, blocked. I called Ryan, nothing. By evening I learned Ryan had been arrested. Daniel pressed charges, assault, humiliation, witnesses, security footage, everything. Ryan had claimed he loved me, but in one impulsive moment, he set fire to both of us. Days later the divorce papers arrived. Daniel had already moved out. Quiet. Efficient. No drama. No hesitation. Our circle of friends whispered everywhere I went. The scene spread like wildfire. The slap. The affair. The public breakdown. In a single night my entire life burned down. Daniel, My steady anchor, gone. Ryan, the thrill I couldn't resist, destroyed. And I stood alone in the ruins of the mess I created. I used to believe I could manage both worlds, security and danger, predictability and excitement. But that night proved that control was only an illusion. One moment, one outburst, one truth spoken too loudly. And everything I thought I had, love, trust, respect, stability, crumbled into dust.